Hey everybody, and welcome to Third Man In, brought to you by Head Check Health. This is episode bonus number 3 because TR is out of town, and we're just trying to cover our asses in case he doesn't make it back in time to record the episode Monday night as we have planned.
It's a fire escape episode.
We've done 3 of these now. They've all been pretty good.
People listen to them.
Yeah, it's been
people tune in.
People tune in, and they usually give us a couple minutes before they tune out. They don't have quite the same completion rates as the other episodes, but there you go.
Terry's out of town, and I am out of this platform.
Yeah, Terry's out of town, and I am out of here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what we decided to do is have some fun with it today. As you know, I am a Boston Bruins fan. Chuck here roots for the Tronna Maple Leaves. And
yes. That's treated me well.
And they just had a bit of a series together.
Yeah.
Some stuff happened, and we thought, you know what, it'd be fun to do is spend today recapping that, reviewing how we both feel about the series, about how things went, and just kind of go from there and just kind of chirp each other back and forth, and then just kind of let it go. Like, we put a stamp on it today. Until the Leafs name a captain in early July, we won't talk about the Tronna Maple Leafs again, other than to tell you to buy our Tronna Maple Leaf shirt.
Buckle up, because we're going to talk about our feelings here on this series. Buckle up. If you're a Leafs fan, listen out there, and I know this, we didn't get the closure we needed. I'm here to bring that closure.
But first, we're going to take a quick second and hear from our sponsor, Head Check Health. So just know that you get the soothing tones of TR's voice right here. That's Bob Cole. Never mind. I do that all the time. I got to actually mark these buttons.
Terry, you've changed.
I got to mark these buttons.
Concussions are serious business. Concussions and post-concussion syndrome had a huge effect on my career. Whether you're a player, a concerned parent, a coach, a risk manager, or an executive, they're a major area of concern. Head Check Health has developed software and services that improve the way concussions are assessed, tracked, and managed at all levels of sport. Their goal is to create a safer environment of play by giving better tools to the individuals responsible for documenting and assessing concussions and providing better data to administrators to make real health and safety improvements. Head Check currently works with organizations across the country like the Canadian Junior Hockey League, BC Hockey, Rugby Ontario, the Western Lacrosse Association, and more to advance their concussion management practices. If you're interested in learning more how Head Check can help your team or organization, please visit headcheckhealth.com or email info@headcheckhealth.com. That's headcheckhealth.com or info@headcheckhealth.com, and tell them TR sent you.
All right. And so the series happened.
Hang on. But before that, I think TR could sell me a truck with that voice.
I think he could.
I think
you don't seem like a truck guy.
I am not a truck guy. I feel like he could win you over. If I went to like a Dodge Ram dealership and the like radio play that, I don't know, you see like 500 Dodge Ram commercials during the playoffs. They had Terry narrating them, and it's like, tell him TR sent you.
Yeah.
I just wake up the next morning and I'm like, well, I guess I gotta go.
TR sent me.
TR sent me. I've watched that commercial 1,001 times.
How do you feel about Mun Insurance?
It calms the morning rush or something? I remember that one. That was on during the playoffs.
It was during the playoffs a couple years ago. It was one I did because I've done some VO work and stuff before. And I had remember, it's Journeys to Imagination.
There it is. I remember what playoffs
It was all through the playoffs.
Your Bruins lost in the finals playoffs. I remember that.
Yeah, I remember that. But yeah, and so I watched a lot of the playoffs that year, and it was super awkward. And then like take a night off from the playoffs and go to like the theater, and then it was like in the pre-roll at Cineplex was one of those commercials too, and I was like, Journeys to Imagination. And I was just like, oh, fuck. And then they went back to Can't Beat Muns by.
Can't beat Muns by. That other fella getting on with the foolishness, he couldn't beat Muns by.
No.
What's he getting on with?
Yeah.
What's he saying?
Anyway, yeah. So
let's get back on the ramp here.
So I don't know how you want to start this. I generally and
get your licks in. Come on.
No, I'm just gonna say this one thing before we start. I'm gonna unlikely have some chirps. Like, I mean, highly likely. I'm highly likely going to have some chirps.
This is all you get. This is it.
But just know that, like, generally, I haven't given you a hard time this week.
No, definitely not. No. Well, I mean,
what I find is that I am a very competitive person, and I am a very sore loser. And in relation to that, with that in mind, I'm a very gracious winner because I assume that everybody else is as fucking sour as I am. And so I try not to like chirp and harp too much on somebody just because I would want them to be like that to me because I know how hard I take that sort of shit.
So what you're telling me is you're the opposite of a Pittsburgh Penguins fan online
right
now.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Okay, yeah, all right. So if the Leafs had won, would you like stick me with a butterfly knife or something?
No, it was happening on Sunday afternoon. It was Easter Sunday after we left. I had some friends over. I was cooking turkey while you guys were here. And I had some friends over after, and one of them was a Leafs fan. Actually, the guy I've got the bet with that I won, that he still hasn't given me my case of beer yet, but we'll see. He owes me a steak dinner and a case of beer. But like he came over and there was like talk that if the Leafs had won Game 6, I might have kicked him out.
Oh,
I might have kicked him out without feeding him.
Oh yeah,
but again, it all depends on like how shitty he was about it. But like it was a great series, and so I'm not gonna.
It was something. They played a lot. Once I get on this ramp, I'm gonna go for a while. So we got all our housekeeping done.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, there's other stuff that we're going to talk about. Like, we're going to talk about how we're going to be at Hockey Heroes Weekend in a couple weeks. We're going to do some stuff like that. But we'll talk about all those things after. If you need to vent, just know at some point I might leave to top up my coffee and you can just keep going.
Carte blanche here on the bonus episode. All right, so I'm gonna get right into this.
Fun fact, everybody: this episode will never air. It's just to let Chuck have that fucking.
Right now, it is Saturday, April 27th. That's pretty important because this is it. This is it for a while, unless something big happens. I'm just not going to talk about the Leafs during these programs anymore because there's nothing happening. We're not playing hockey. It's the off season. So a couple of things. That series against Boston. Once they dropped Game 6, I kind of knew I was going to go to the same funeral again, which is strange. If you're a Tronna Maple Leafs fan, you're one of the only people saying you can go to the same funeral multiple times, and that's just how it works. Having said that, you kind of knew. You kind of knew after you couldn't close it on the road. You kind of really knew that that was it. Once you drop Game 6 at home, you're not coming back. I don't know. I got a lot of friends who were positive going into Game 7, and I remember saying it was going to be a 6-1 trouncing. And I was close.
I was. Can I just interject real quick?
Yeah.
There was a brief period of time where it was 4-1. And I was saying to myself, are the Boston Bruins going to beat the Tronna Maple Leafs 4-1 just to troll them? And then it got worse. Because then they scored the last empty netter with like 0.3 seconds left to make it 5-1, which for those of you keeping score are the two numbers Jake Gardner wears on his back.
We'll get to Jake. But here's the thing. You kind of knew it was going to happen. And the reason it is just the Bruins have a blueprint to beat what like we've got one fucking tool. Game 1.
There's a couple fucking tools on that team.
Well, no, like literally, game
we
1.
had them too, but you got a couple fucking tools on that team.
Game number 1 of the season, I remember watching. Game 2. Game 2, they played Ottawa. I remember watching it, and the stretch pass kept getting picked off.
Yeah,
and I was like, "Well, Jesus, that's going to be a problem."
Yeah.
Game, I don't know, 40. The stretch pass got picked off, and I was thinking, "Oh, fuck, that's still a problem." Game 82. Stretch pass gets picked off.
So here's my question for you.
Hang on, I'm not done yet.
Oh, okay.
So I'm thinking, okay, well that's you gotta have more tools than this. You gotta find a way to adapt. In the defensive zone, we've got one fucking tool. I remember seeing, again,
you got a couple fucking tools back there.
I remember seeing a couple of times Nikita Zaitsev, who played a great series, mind you. He's finally, lifted his trade value a fair bit. Yeah. But I remember seeing, Zaitsev's got it on that half wall there, and the guys are getting the change, and he's going to reverse to the man behind the net. And it causes a traffic jam, and boom, we can't clear it. It's in our own net. Reverse it. I'm thinking, Jesus, is that the only tool we've got back here too? Is that and that's it. And I'm not a fire the coach guy.
And that's what I was going to ask. That from what you're telling me, there's a whole bunch of people on the internet right now that are big on the whole fire Babcock wagon because they've got 3 consecutive first round exits. Now, in all fairness, according to Mike Babcock, when he got hired, I think they were only supposed to be in the playoffs for 1 or 2 of those 3 first-round exits. So there's that. But the question becomes, is if you as a hockey fan are watching in game 1 against the Ottawa Senators, who we know how they finished.
Yeah. Ottawa, they didn't start too terribly this year, though. It was a little bit of a surprise.
But if you spotted a problem that team had in game 1, and in 82, in 89 games,
I know.
they didn't fix that problem, and it's something that you find so glaringly obvious, at that point, is it something where you have to go, well, what the fuck is the coach doing if they're not fixing these issues? The same thing with the Zaitsev reverse pass.
I will get to that on this. This is so back to, I'm not a fire the coach guy, because I've seen clubs that fire the coach reactionary in the offseason, and when they come back, it's a whole new school, it's a whole new learning process. And it's a coin toss. If they fire the coach, like right now, I know that Mike Babcock is probably going to get us to the playoffs next year. And everyone's going to say, well, it's the talent that's getting into the playoffs next year. Well, yeah, no doubt. But who the fuck is out there to hire? And a lot of people are going to say, well, yeah, let's take the guy from the AHL. And I will say that if he wins another championship, well, you got to do it.
Yeah.
If he wins the Calder Cup down there in the AHL this year, well, you got to do it. But I'm not really big on, this is how I approach. So in my opinion, this is why I think that, okay, it's April 27th. The Leafs lost a little bit more than a week ago. Every fucking Toronto fan.
It was less than a week ago.
Whenever this airs, every Leafs fan should find, like, literally, I'm begging you all, find a fucking hobby now. And in the last 3, like, let's just give it a rest. It's the off season. Let's not pick the friggin' carcass to death like a bunch of crows.
Guerrero's there now, bud.
Vladdy's there. I did 100 squats.
He got a double last night?
I did 100 free squats for when they called him up. And every homer he hits this year, I'm going to stop what I'm doing and do 100 squats.
I like it. I'm
going to...
Well, that reminds... You know what I like about that is that if you're going to just stop wherever you are.
Yeah.
Because have you ever seen, and I love it, there's the Jag-Off. It's a video.
Pardon?
It's a video these two guys did on the internet 10 years ago.
Okay.
And they have a Jag-Off. And so what they do is wherever they are, one guy can say to the other, do your best Jagger, and he has to drop whatever the fuck he's doing and just do his best Mick Jagger impression.
That's pretty good.
And I love it. And me and my friends, a couple of us have started doing, and I think you would appreciate this a lot, the last couple years, and it generally only happens in bars when the band is playing, but we will on occasion drop a do your best Gord.
Oh, that's pretty close.
And so you get your like best Gord Downy going, and it's good.
That's pretty good.
But to just drop whatever you're doing and do 100 squats, I love. And depending on how he does in day games, this could really fuck up your workflow.
Well, that's the joke actually, because there's a dude I used to do some work with that he was an older fella, lives and works in Toronto, and he's kind of one of those guys that just kept the job for fun.
Yeah.
Has had season tickets for a while. He don't work on game days in the afternoon. He just
Amazing.
He just don't do it.
That's
He's
great.
Like, that's it. You want
get into that stage. That's what you want.
We're gonna dial it back here. We're gonna get back on track.
Yeah.
So get a hobby, find something. What the Leafs are gonna do? They're gonna do. Find faith in Vlad, please. Because this offseason is going to drive everybody into a frenzy. It's going to drive everybody nuts. And I'm already, I found out, fucking 2 days ago that someone dug up that Mitch Marner doesn't pay rent. And apparently this is news for some reason. The Mike Babcock thing. This is how I do it. If Sheldon Keefe wins another Calder Cup, goes back-to-back down there, well... Got to talk to him. Sheldon, how do you feel about coming on as an assistant to fucking see how that works in the NHL?
Okay.
And you've got a situation with Mike Babcock in your hands. Do I think he's going to last the full season next year? Maybe. Do I think he's going to make it to next year? Maybe. Maybe not. I mean, the press conference is pretty obvious. If you haven't seen it, he wouldn't give him an endorsement. He just said, I have my review with Shanahan. Once I'm good to go, I have my review with Mike. That's all I can ask you, or that's all I can tell you right now. I'll say this about Babcock, and I'm not a fire the coach guy. He's had 4 years. Did I think we'd make the playoffs in all 4 of those years? No. Did I think that we'd make the playoffs in 3 or 4 of those years? No, he did. The Washington series, I completely fucking forgot about.
Yeah, I did too.
I completely
forgot about it.
That one's fine. Last year's loss against the Bruins, you kind of saw that coming. You're not going to win a lot of playoff games with that forward depth there. But this year, we had a lot of forward depth. You got 2 20-goal guys out of Janssen and Kapanen this year. You know, you do have to go for it. They added Jake Muzzin on the background. You do have to go for it. And it just, I mean, you look at the coaches that are left. John Tortorella. I don't like John Tortorella. I don't think I'd hold a door open for him. I definitely wouldn't ask him how his day is going or say good morning or anything like that. But that Columbus team,
I think I would this year.
I wouldn't.
I always hated him, and then this year I'm just kind of like, I kind of like him a little bit.
I bet he's rude to wait staff and people on airplanes.
Yeah,
I guarantee.
But there's somebody else that I've heard is like that, and then we've been pretty big on them the last 15, 16 weeks.
So John Tortorella, back to him. Adjustments. That guy adjusts almost the full fucking the full fucking forecheck.
Yeah.
From a period to period basis. Yeah. And it's easy. It's easy to blame this on the coach. It's very easy. Maybe it's the players just say, well, fucking wing it up here. Wing it up here, and I'm off to the races with that stretch pass. Maybe they're calling for it every time. I don't know. I'm not there. It's very easy to assume there's a rift when you're not in the room, and that's what everyone wants to talk about, especially when, let's face it, all these people talking about it, this is what generates clicks, what sells paper and all that. I'm gonna like, if you are a Leafs fan and you're one of these people that wants to, for some reason in fucking April through August, want to keep your finger on the button and read about this, filter out a lot of it. Chris Johnson, I trust. Elliot Friedman, I trust. Pretty much anyone that works with a network that doesn't have national coverage anymore, don't buy it. I mean, their big guy goes to the cottage for fucking 4 months and nothing's really happening after that. But what I do with Babcock right now, you have your review. That's it. Business as usual, you have your review. 20 games in the next season, you have a review. Yeah. That's all you can do, really.
Yeah.
I don't think that the knee-jerk reaction should be, well, everyone's fucking bracket here had Bruins in 5. Based on the Leafs' performance this year, I don't
think everybody's bracket did, but I think everybody who wasn't.
Put it this way. Anyone who watched the Leafs all season long.
Yeah.
Anyone who watched a lot of Leafs hockey, you kind of knew this was coming. So, do that. Another thing I got
I've also heard the theory that the Bruins let him have a couple just to extend Kadri's suspension.
We'll get to that.
We will. It's on the list of things you want to rant about.
Things I want to yell
folks,
about.
If you're listening right now, something crazy happened because I have no intention on actually posting this. This is just to let Chuck vent.
Oh, jeez. My Twitter mentions after I get into this, then if you do ever post it. I yelled at a grown man at the gym yesterday. A man who could definitely beat the shit out of me.
Yeah.
And the reason I did it was I was talking to my friend. My friend Scott was there, and we were having a chat about it. And he's like, oh, what are you guys talking about? I said, oh, geez, the Leafs. And he's like, mind if I join?
Oh, Jesus.
I looked at him, and I was like, yeah, I know where this is going. I know where this is going right away. Guy, late 30s, early 40s. Big dude.
Yep.
It was all William Nylander's fault. And I'm like, yeah, here we fucking go. All right. Now it's like, why do you say that? Well, he misses half the year and he makes $7.9 million.
It's $6.9 million.
And I replied to him, well, you're right on half of those things. Yeah. And I was like, well, boy, you're not paying him. And in fact, he's playing for free in the playoffs. And in fact, you have more points than fucking a lot of people on that team. In fact, he adapted well to a third-line checking center that he was thrown into. He was throwing the body a lot. What don't you like about Nylander? He's selfish. How do you know that? He's European.
See, all right.
He was born in fucking Calgary. He's born in Calgary. Look it up. If you need to pick on a European player on the Leafs, I've got some suggestions. If that's what you need, if you've been wired by Don Cherry for the last fucking 27 years to pick on a nationality, I've got some suggestions. One, he was drafted in the 7th round. I feel his playoff performance was pretty lackluster. A lot of people say that. I feel that he was on the Matthews line. It's almost like that Matthews line turned into the reverse Weekend at Bernie's, where the live guy is carrying two fellas on the outskirts that are just dead. And that's, I'm going to say, Andreas Johansson didn't impress me at all this playoffs. He was invisible. I don't think he had a point. I'm not quite sure. He definitely probably got an assist or something on that Matthews onslaught. But I just don't get it. I honestly don't expect what these people expect from William Nylander. It's very, very, very easy to beat up on a player when, one, you're not getting the contract sent to you, and two, did these people ever fucking negotiate a raise for themselves? Like, that's, what is he supposed to do? First contract comes along in September, $5 million. All right, done, sold. $5 million, next 6 years of your life. Hockey careers are short as fuck.
Here's my thing.
Yeah? See what my heart rate's at right now.
Yeah, it's up there.
We're good.
Here's my thing. I don't like, I think, and I tweeted this out yesterday because Nylander had a quote about how he wishes he could have been there all year, and it was just like, do you really have the gall to say that? No, because here's the thing. We all know that there is a bit of a spotlight on Toronto sports figures. Most of the national press coverage is based out of Toronto, and those guys are under a microscope. And it's why wearing the C in Toronto is such an issue, and guys crumble under it. And there's so much pressure and so much there's just so much attention, and there's so much to try to live up to, especially when you're on a team like the Tronna Maple Leafs who haven't won a cup 52 years and counting.
It's not. But it wasn't like that with the Blackhawks when they didn't win in fucking 57 years.
Because the Blackhawks, no one gave a fuck about them in Chicago.
All right.
You had the Cubs and the White Sox who hadn't won in over 80 years each. And honestly, hockey was like the third fucking tier sport fourth tier sport of the big four. Hockey was ranked 4 in Chicago for a very long time.
I'll take it.
But in Toronto, hockey is hockey. It's where the fucking Hall of Fame is. It's arguably the biggest sport. It's the biggest. I know me and you argue about this because you think it's Montreal. I think Toronto is kind of hockey central. It's the hub.
Until you've seen a game, and I'm a Leafs fan. Until you've seen a game in Montreal, or even been there on a game day.
That's beyond the fucking point I'm trying to make.
Right.
The point I'm trying to make is that there is a lot of pressure, a lot of attention, a lot of it's pressure and attention. Okay. There's not really a third one. And by holding out, which again is somebody negotiating a contract, and it's completely within their right and their purview to do it. Mm-hmm. But you have to know that you are in that market. There is that pressure. There is that attention. There is that scrutiny.
Fair.
I've thought of a third word: scrutiny.
Scrutiny.
And if you're going to hold out and you're going to get a $7 million payday, because let's fucking round up. Fuck you. We're rounding up. If you're going to get that payday, then you're going to have to deliver, or people are going to tear you apart.
And has any one of these people, well, have any one of these people looked at who else makes above what Nylander makes and what they did? Not on the Leafs, but league-wide. Nylander's contract is not that bad.
But what I'm fucking telling you that you're refusing to acknowledge is the fact that you can't go league-wide. You have to look at Toronto as a microcosm because it's different, because there's the level of attention and pressure and scrutiny.
I'm just going to say...
I'm so glad I thought of the third word.
Okay, all I'm going to say to that is they're just, and I'm going to say it, people who dunk down on William Nylander because of the contract negotiation are plain and simple. I think it's stupid. I think they're being stupid.
Okay, and here is a counter to that.
Yeah.
My problem with William Nylander isn't the contract negotiation.
Okay.
It has always been his compete level. And don't roll your fucking eyes.
It's always been something you can never measure.
No, but it's something that you can watch him in the playoffs make a one-handed swipe at the puck, miss, shrug his shoulders, and skate off to the bench. And I'm a Boston fan. I want him to be pulling that shit, and it's still frustrating the fuck out of me.
I didn't.
And so the fact that there is legitimate criticism of William Nylander, and whenever somebody tries to make one, you shrug to the shoulders and just, you don't like him because Don Cherry says to hate Europeans, is bullshit. He doesn't give a fuck when he's out there. You can see it. He doesn't care.
I didn't see it. I thought he played... I'm trying to think of the games in my head now. I thought, what was the one we lost? But
there was 4 of those.
Yeah, I'm trying to... The home ice one, not 6, so game 4. Game 3? Game 4.
Game 4.
4. I thought game 4 he was our best player on the ice, bar none. I thought game 4 he was.
In game 4, there wasn't a whole lot to compare him to.
I honestly.
There was a point, and I think it was game 6, where they were describing something. It was after. Austin Matthews had just gotten back out on the ice, and I guess Craig Simpson said, and Austin Matthews is back out there because he doesn't kill penalties, and I'm like, clearly none of them fucking do right now. So let's, I don't know why I'm so riled up.
That's the other thing. The same people that are constantly dunking on Nylander's compete level are I'm
one of them, so watch what you fucking say. Here.
I do the unfortunate thing. They're always fucking dunking on Matthews' compete level too.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine with Matthews' compete level.
It really makes it hard for me to buy that it's genuine and it's not just a nationality thing.
No, it's not. It's not at all. I don't think I think the problem that you have is that you have Matthews. Like I'm fine with Matthews' compete level. Don't mind it. Nylander's I have a huge problem with. And I think another part of the problem with Nylander's compete level isn't Nylander's fault. It's Mitch Marner's. Because Mitch Marner is going out there and he is like a dog to a bone. Nobody wants it more than Mitch Marner. Nobody on that ice on either team wants to win as much as Mitch Marner does. And I think that by comparison, when you have Mitch Marner coming off the second line, and then William Nylander's hopping over the boards on the third line, and you see the drastic dynamic between those guys in terms of Mitch Marner straight up saying at one point, because he blocked a shot, like that's what dentists are for.
Yeah,
and then you have William Nylander like reaching out one handed with a stick and then just skating away.
I thought he's
a selfish when I say selfish player, I don't mean it in the sense of like he's holding out for himself. I'm saying it in. It's not so much selfish as that he looks like a lazy player. It's opportunistic stuff where it's like if he thinks he can hop on something and get a point and get on the score sheet, he works. And as soon as that's not there, he doesn't give a fuck.
I'm gonna say it. I don't see it like that. I didn't see it like that in the playoffs. I'll give you this. There's nights in the regular season where I did see that. I see that from every
100%
guy.
saw in the playoffs.
I see that from nearly every guy in the playoffs. I think probably if you're an NHLer, there's going to be around 10 games at 82 where you're going to mail it in. You're probably going to tell, like, guys, I don't have it tonight.
But here's another thing. Here's another thing. When you only play 41 of those games, then it shouldn't be 10 of the 41. It should be
pay your talent. Pay your talent. That's all I'm going to say to it.
With the talent they have on that team, with the talent that they have on that team that they have to pay.
All right, we'll go into that. We'll go to the
6.9 for William Nylander.
We'll go to the Marner thing next.
Yeah,
then.
okay.
So I'm already sick of it. You're gonna read about the Mitch Marner contract situation flat out. I've read maybe 200 tweets in the last 3 days since they've been eliminated. And the quote Shania Twain, that don't impress me much. Everybody has a take on this. He's gonna sign. He's gonna get signed. It'll be. Oh, let's go around the league in the wingers here now. Pat Kane is the highest paid winger in the league right now. It's either 10 and a quarter or 10 and a half.
No.
What's that?
I said yeah.
Oh, I thought you said no.
I said yeah.
After Pat Kane, I think it's like a tie between Ovi and Kuznetsov, and they're not making 10. Marner's probably going to beat Ovi and Kuznetsov. I don't think he's going to get the Kane money because the Kane money is a mistake. However, I've been reading you'll find it anywhere. Oh, there's 12. There's people lining up for 12, and we're going to lose them. And, we can't afford to hold out this time because he's going to get offer sheeted for 15 years, even though that's not the CBA anymore. And in my opinion, I think that's obviously priority number one for the GM right now. And possibly that's going to be the first thing he takes on after his review. And I'd say we're at April 20. What are we at here now? The 27th? He'll be signed before May 27th.
9.5 is Ovi.
9.5. What's Kuznetsov at? 9.6, I thought. 9.65. Or he does. Kuznetsov re-signed that. I think it was more than Ovi because I thought it was a big deal at the time.
No, 7-8.
Oh, my God. Yeah, okay. So
Evgeny Kuznetsov we're talking about.
Yep. Yeah, okay. So, yeah.
No, that's not who we're talking about.
Who are we talking about?
Hang on.
Maybe I was thinking of Dmitry Orlov. Just pull up the Capitals cap numbers. I thought there was one guy on there that's making more than Ovi. I don't remember it being kind of like a big deal at the time.
Of course, it's not like. Hang on, let me teams. Hang on. Fuck.
Just got a little mad there at the Nylander thing, didn't I?
What's that?
I got a little mad there at the Nylander thing, didn't I?
There is nobody making more money. I mean, it might be a longer term deal or something like that.
I thought.
But as of right now,
I thought it was look up the highest paid wingers.
Kuznetsov has Ovi's got 3 years left.
Yeah,
Kuznetsov has 7 years left.
Yeah, this signed
and
him
so
last year.
it might be like hang on, let me check the AVA.
Yeah,
I was looking at the cap hit.
Yeah, there you go.
No, it's the same. And Kuznetsov and Ovechkin are both considered $10 million this season.
Okay.
And next year, Ovi is 10 annually. Kuznetsov drops to 8.4, and then 5, and then 8, and then 5, and then 8, and then 8.
And it's gonna be it is gonna be one of those like the Matthews.
Oh fuck! John Carlson's making $12 million. Yeah, John Carlson is making more money than Alexander Ovechkin right now.
He was the big fish last year, and anyhow, no, that
and he's got a lower AV.
Well, that's
and
how
he's got a lower cap hit, but his salary is higher.
And that's how they're going to be doing it. Going like the Matthews deal is like that. It's all money up front. It's all, and that's how they're going to be doing that stuff. I think that am I going to throw a figure at the Mariner stuff? No, because it's mundane and it's useless, and there's going to be fucking more people who are paid a lot more than me to throw figures at the Mariner stuff all Jesus summer or all month until it finally happens. Yeah. So I think it's pointless. They will find a way, yes, if it involves, hey, maybe trading Nazem Kadri. Well, something that
Nazem Kadri has to be traded.
It wasn't something that it definitely wasn't a foregone conclusion going into this playoffs. He kind of forced their hand at that. I honestly, I don't like to sell low. Is my take on that. I bring him back and show that he's a changed man.
He's not though, and because here's my thing.
I can bring him out to the bay and baptize him and sell people that he's a changed man. I don't fucking know.
What are you gonna get for him now? That's sketchy sounding, just based on some stuff. But what?
We should. Yeah.
But what I was gonna say, like, here's the thing about Kadri. Kadri is kind of, his whole thing is that he's a fucking hothead, but his whole thing is that he is he's a depth guy for them. Him as the third line center is huge, because on a lot of other teams he's top 6. It just happens to be that Leafs team is loaded up front, and just because of that, that's why he is the third line center. But him being that good as a third line center is a big deal for the Leafs. But if when it really matters, he just goes off and fucking cross-checks somebody in the face or takes a dirty hit or whatever, and then loses out on the big time. Because that's the thing, is all season he was fine.
Oh yeah.
It was only when it really came to it, and that's the problem. Here's
something. You don't have to
to
sell me that Nazem Kadri needs to change his tune and fast.
But here's something I was talking to somebody about the other day. We were talking about Kadri and Tom Wilson, and we were comparing the two. And I was saying how if I was going to have to pick, I would take Kadri over Wilson. And it's because I think Wilson is like, actually fucking evil.
A criminal.
And here's why. Here's why. Tom Wilson doesn't make those kinds of plays that get him 20-game suspensions in the playoffs.
No.
And that, to me, shows that he can control it.
Yeah.
Whereas anytime Kadri does something stupid, it's retaliatory.
They're both doing different things, though. Kadri's using his stick as a weapon.
But again,
Wilson is just taking advantage of people in bad positions.
But again, it's retaliatory. And it's always an escalation, and it's always something
retaliatory.
Where
I don't think Wilson.
No, that's not. What I'm saying is Kadri is always retaliatory, and it's always in the moment, a passion, like overreacting or whatever it is, and the refs aren't giving him the calls he wants, and he takes it out and he does something stupid because he goes off and he just loses sight of shit and he does something dumb. Well, Tom Wilson knows exactly what the fuck he's doing. He goes after guys like a fucking shark, and then when it's playoffs and he can't risk the suspension, he doesn't do it.
Well,
so Tom Wilson
do it this year. He did it last year against Vegas.
That's true. Yeah,
like a motherfucker.
Yeah, actually. But again,
people,
he shows that he has the self-control that he doesn't need that in his fucking game.
They call people rats a lot in the NHL. Obviously, I know you know a guy that gets called a rat a lot. I think Tom Wilson is like, what's the dumbest apex predator of the jungle? Like, what's the... what's a predator animal, but it's just still really dumb. That's what I call Tom Wilson, because he, in the play, especially last year with Vegas, I think he got suspended twice in the playoffs last year.
Yeah, no, you're right. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
One was like a Greg the Hammer Valentine hit on a Penguin, where it was like he ran a guy, and not only he came down with the forearm shiver on the skull, and he was gone for a good chunk, and then he came back, and they played Vegas, and he also got dinged again. So Tom Wilson, but Tom Wilson is in the driver's seat.
He was suspended 3 games.
Yeah, that was
in the playoffs for Zach and Aston Reese. Aston Reese was diagnosed with a concussion and a broken jaw on the play. And then he got his 20-game suspension for the hit on Sundqvist in preseason.
He was suspended in the Vegas series too, wasn't he?
Nope, not according to his Wikipedia page.
Oh.
I'll hold it there. Like they would, they would fucking note it if he was suspended in the Cup final.
Unless
I think it was one of those things where they were calling for a suspension and he didn't get it.
Well, I know he was headhunting the Vegas series.
Because he's a fucking dirtbag.
But anyhow, I'll say this: he's in the driver's seat. He's the hunter, depending on how he wants to hunt.
Yeah.
Naz is a guy that how do I want to put this? They're poking at him. I don't know. Like if you kind of watch a dog that hasn't. No, I don't want to call him a dog. That's rude. It's kind of like you keep poking the bear. No, I don't want to call him a bear because the fucking Bruins. If you keep needling someone, it's like a kid on a school bus, and you keep throwing his hat on the ground, and well, fucking sooner or later he's gonna get up and pop you one.
Yeah,
and he popped you one when the driver's coming back to kind of settle it down. Yeah. And he's always the kid that throws the punch is always going to get in trouble in a schoolyard.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand. And another player who's really bad for this, Evgeny Malkin.
Yeah.
Malkin is another guy. It's like, he's got to keep his emotions under control. Or he's got to do something stupid. I think Malkin swung a stick at somebody's fucking skull this year.
Yeah.
But where Nazem Kadri has a suspension history, this is probably his fifth. This is his fifth
something
suspension.
Like that. He's also the. I think he's the most suspended for hits to the head.
Really, Naz?
Yeah. Naz. I think he has 5 suspensions for that, and the next is like 2.
I honestly would have thought he's the most suspensions for stuff that's a little bit kooky, like using your stick as a weapon, because I've seen him do it. He does. I don't want to use like the heat of the moment type of thing, but he does that, and it's not good.
No,
for the other dozen guys on the ice.
Nope.
It's not good for the team.
It's not good for anybody on the ice.
Well, I'll say this. I didn't know until after the series was over. He didn't travel on the road with them for this. That's a big sign. That, to me, says, like, well, that's the Garrett Sparks treatment.
Well,
you're signed to be back next year, but when you're not traveling for the road games of the playoffs.
I think, though, when you're not traveling when you're suspended and you're not traveling for the road games, in the case of Kadri, I think it had a lot to do with focus and the fact that they didn't want the distraction and they didn't want the rattle of what's like the media scrutiny of what's happening with Kadri. Because that's the thing is once it happened and once he was suspended and once the NHL did the thing where they had the hour and a half long hearing or whatever the fuck it was with
more
him.
Like several hours.
It was like 3.5 hours and then it was 4 hours again before they fucking announced what actually happened.
It was a filibuster.
I know. It was anyway, but they did that and they announced it at the last minute. Once that game was over, like after that Monday or whatever the fuck it was, after that it was kind of like done and over. And if he travels with them on the road, then it gets brought up again and again and again.
I don't think it does. I mean, I saw Nick Petan in the press box on those road games, and I know Nick Petan didn't try to decapitate anybody, but I think there's
I think you're being naive about the degree to which the media was blowing up the Kadri DeBrusk thing.
After the suspension, I think there was... what more is there to talk about? He's not playing. He's not playing.
But I think if he travels with them, then he's there and he's open for it. And there's a shot of Kadri walking into the rink, and then there's all these things. And he's in the building tonight. And what do you have to say about that, Jake DeBrusk? And like all these things. All right. And I think it's all this shit that it was just better to leave him fucking on like at home and for him to take some time and think about what he did.
Like he's a misbehaved teenager or something. I don't know. I'm a big guy that I don't like to sell low, and I think if you move Kadri now, you're selling low, man.
But you know what? I think they need to. I think selling low on him right now is fine because of the cap space they need.
You don't know that they need that much cap space, but. I mean, it all depends. The first move, they said it, the first move is going to be Marner, and then everything else happens after it. So if they sign him and then they need cap space, well, yeah, maybe you try to package him with something and he gets shipped out of town. Yeah. I think there's a lot of places he could turn up. I think Edmonton makes a lot of sense.
Edmonton makes a lot of sense. Send him and Gardner there.
Well, I think Gardner's gone off on his own free will. It's going to be very, very, very fun.
He's UFA, isn't he?
UFA. It's going to be very fun, very entertaining for the same people that have accosted Jake Gardner, the weird Jake Gardner turnover shame cam on some broadcasting services, and then come like June 25th when it's free agent season, you're going to hear him talk about how big of a piece Jake Gardner is in the free agent market, because it's bad free agent market this year. I like Jake Gardner. However, once again, it's the thing where it's like, well, he's not capable of that many minutes. Here's my thing on the defensive side of things. You can teach a guy.
I'm trying to find to figure out where the best place for Jake Gardner to go.
He's going to Detroit.
I'm googling which teams have played the least Game 7s.
I've already decided that Jake Gardner's going to turn up in Michigan. It's I don't think he's going to be as big as a piece as I thought he was going into the season, free agency wise, because there's the whole back surgery thing looming, and that really knocks your ticket price down a little bit if you got a guy on back.
Yeah,
you don't have, with the free agent market, I don't think you're allowed to send like doctors in to look at a guy's back before you give him a boatload of money. So,
well, I imagine that there's like anything, there'd be an insurance medical
stuff.
It's pending a medical.
I can, for some reason, I can picture him turning up as a Detroit Red Wing. I always could. I don't know why. It just seems like his skating is the one thing I've always noticed. You can teach anything besides skating, and I think he can definitely bounce back. I don't think if I were him, there wouldn't be enough money in the world. They could give me Mitch Marner's money, and I wouldn't stay in Toronto.
And I think that comes back to what we were talking about earlier, where there is in Toronto that level of attention and pressure and scrutiny.
And when the Leafs, and I'm guilty of this too, when we get a whipping boy, by God, we whip him.
Yeah.
We whip him better than any team whips a whipping boy you've ever seen. And Jake Gardner for a very long time, because of, well, last year it was the biggest one, but for a very long time Jake Gardner was the tried, true, and tested whipping boy.
Yeah.
He didn't have a great Game 7 again. Like I'd love to say
it was bad.
I'd love to say, but also
he turned over the game-winning goal.
Yeah, well, what do you expect? Same funeral every year. I'd love to say that he had a good series. I don't know how bad his back was. Maybe once again.
Well, Zach Hyman was playing with a torn ACL, so I can't imagine any. And Hyman had a hell of a fucking series, considering.
Had a hell of a series. However, I don't know what the fuck you're doing putting a guy on one leg to win these penalty kill faceoffs. I that's one thing I'm never going to understand. Oh, it's penalty kill, and we need to win a crucial draw in our own zone here.
Yeah.
Is Tiny Tim on the bench? Where's the guy with one fucking leg? Let's send him out here. I don't know. That has got to be.
But you are not #Fire Babcock.
That I'm not. But that has just got to be the dumbest fucking decision making I have ever heard.
Up there with less than 19 minutes for Austin Matthews in a 5-on-5 game.
Well, I was expecting actually something to come out that Matthews is playing hurt too. That was the only way that makes sense. That was literally, and the guy's got history with his shoulders.
Yeah.
He had a shoulder injury again this year. That was the only way that made sense. However, Well, no, that's dumber. Putting a guy out with one fucking leg.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't need, like, I'm not a face-off specialist. I'm not Yannick Perreault or anything here, but I know it all, you drive low. It all comes from the legs. At one leg. Holy fuck. One thing I will note on that is...
I will say in defense of, just before we move on from it, in defense of the Matthews thing, Moore had a hell of a fucking game. So
this is another thing. Mike, oh my God, I'm turned into a Fire Babcock guy and it's only fucking April.
Yeah.
Mike Babcock has a veteran...
This has been my goal. It's a lighting event, but also have you admit you're a Fire Babcock.
He's just got such a veteran bias. Trevor Moore came up in February, and he's not a big guy. He's not a big guy at all. Trevor Moore came up in February, and the very first game he played, I was like, God damn, I like this guy. He is flying. He's fast. He's a plug and grinder, and he's not afraid to hit somebody bigger than him.
Yeah.
And by Jesus, he couldn't buy a regular spot in that lineup. He couldn't buy it. No how. The veteran, the tiebreaker always goes to the veteran when somebody's coming in. That's one of Babcock's famous lines. He's also got a size bias. I mean, if one of my text messages I got, he's got a size bias, and one of the text messages I got the second this series ended was, well, if I see Freddie Gauthier in a Leafs jersey on the ice ever again in my life, I'm walking into the fucking harbor. And it's funny, I didn't send that message, but I totally didn't send that message. That's not me. I just don't understand how many times you give Freddie Gauthier, a chance to prove himself as an NHLer when he's clearly not. And you got guys like Trevor Moore, Nick Patan to another extent in the press box because they're small.
Yeah.
Frederick Gauthier is 6'3", 6'4". He skates like a rough day in boat. He's slow, maximum effort and minimum movement. He is I don't want to say terrible, but by Jesus, he's bad. I
had somebody in the room the other day. I had somebody in the room the other night. I had my it turned out elimination game. Unfortunately, we lost in the semifinal.
Your face-off man have two healthy fucking legs?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, just checking.
But we were in the room after the game, after the game, and we were talking, and Freddie Gauthier came up, and someone mentioned and referred to him as GOAT.
No, and that's another
and I was just like, wait, you said GOAT, right? No, they've referred to him as the GOAT, and I was like, wait, did you say the GOAT or GOAT? Because there's a big fucking difference between being the GOAT / or scapegoat, and no, it wasn't even Gauthier. Never mind. It was calling, it was referring to Jake Gardiner as the scapegoat, and he's like, yeah, well, he's the GOAT. I'm like, hang the fuck on now.
He's a bit of a scapegoat. I mean, back to Gardiner. Listen, I almost bought a Gardiner jersey. I always liked... I'm a big... I watch the defensive side of the ice and the game more so than the offensive. So it's not very hard for me to get excited for a hockey player when they can skate really, really well.
Yeah.
And I honestly don't know why in all of his time in Toronto he didn't focus on skating the puck out more than trying to... I don't know...
Because one of their tools was the stretch pass?
Well, yeah. Well, even before that, I mean, he's been around longer than Babcock. I'll never, for a guy that gets burned that many times on trying to make a pass that's not there clearly because it gets picked off. I just don't know why he didn't use his ability to skate it out more. I mean, he can move, he can wheel. And I mean, we've got, in my opinion, a very, very capable replacement of Gardiner's minutes in Travis Dermott, but I just hate to see...
Dermott didn't play that much, but, well, I mean, they were a D pair, so it's hard.
Yeah, they were kind of... I would just, I would hate to see the same fate of Whipping Boy get handed down to, the new Jake Gardiner, because once again, he's a guy that can. He's young, but my Jesus, can he ever skate?
I think you got 7 years of Nylander now, so I think if you get rid of Gardiner, there's your Whipping Boy.
Yeah, no kidding. Just because of a contract situation.
Yeah, and I mean, but again, it comes back to what I was trying to say earlier about Nylander is just in again the contract situation became the thing because of what the environment in Toronto is.
Fair.
It got blown up because of that, and that's what I was trying to say.
I'd like to see
is that the contract situation put more of a microscope on an already very kind of intense situation.
I was kind of thinking, well, would they react the same to another contract stalemate? But I honestly don't think we're going to get that with Marner. I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen pretty quick, especially judging by some of the comments Chris Johnson made. Or is it Johnson or Johnston? You have a T in there?
Johnston.
He's got the T in there.
He's got the T, and he's got that beard that he grew just to make sure people realize he's older than Kyle Bukowski. Not Bukowski. What's Bukowski? Bukowski.
Okay, I can't say Johnston, but I'm like, oh, Bukowskis.
Yeah. Kyle Bukowski's South Park, right?
Yes, he is. He also he's also older than the fictional character from South Park as well, I would imagine.
Actually, I don't know that he is.
Yeah, South Park's
I'm gonna find out now. Just hang on a while.
I think the only chance we get another contract holdout is if it's one of those, if it's Kapanen or Johnson. I think you trade. You try to sign and trade maybe Johnson. He was a 7th round pick. He's coming off a 21 goal season. You're not going to get any higher than that. He can easily be, in my opinion, replaced with somebody coming up from the Marlies. It's not that far-fetched to think somebody like Bracco can slide into that spot and just put up the same numbers. Those guys, I know that they're not going to make big bank, but I think the offer sheet process, if you give a guy $3 million, it's a 3rd-round pick. Who's not going to part with a 3rd-round pick for a guy who just scored 21 goals? So I think when it comes to people who have to get shuffled around, they're two of the guys that, we might not see them in Leaf sweaters next year. You might get a team that signs Kapanen to, a $3.95 million deal, which is the ceiling on what you got to give out a pick for, a 3rd pick, and there he goes. Kapanen especially, because I like his speed alone, it makes him, I don't want to compare him to Michael Grabner because he's better than Grabner, but speed kills. So in that sense, I think if everyone wants to see another contract stalemate, I don't think you're going to get it in Mitch Marner. I think it's going to be one of those two guys. And I honestly, I can picture a world where neither of them are back. Which, when you've got anyone with any team with 4 or 5 big stars on, it'll tell you that the support cast, it's always changing, but when you get it in place, that's when you go on a run. So it's Dubas's job now to get that in place, whether it's developing people, whether it's finding college free agents like the Penguins were really handy at doing, or, So again, to wrap this into where I was going, I'm not typically a fire Babcock guy because there's, it's like there's two fellas pulling on the same rope here. And Mike Babcock can and definitely did say, well, I wasn't given the tools. And he can make a case for that. I think that's just his opinion, man. But he can definitely make a case for that, especially when you're talking the lower lines. I mean, he said he didn't have depth at center, especially after the Kadri suspension. They didn't. I mean, if Frederick Gauthier isn't in that lineup, I don't think, if Kadri doesn't get suspended. Yeah. So he's fair in a sense like that, but you're not, given the situation contract-wise, I don't think we're going to get any deeper. I just, and we were plenty deep on D. It just goes back to that, Calle Rosen didn't get a shot. I think he's a very good skater. He could have been of use, but he's not a very big guy, so he's not big on Babcock's books. I don't know. I light a candle for Justin Holl up in the press box. He was up there I think he got 3 games, and he was there for like 82 of the. He was there for there and healthy the full season. Yeah, like I don't know what that guy's got to do. And once again, he's a great skater. Doesn't use his size. I'll say that. He's not physical. He's not gonna. He's definitely not gonna sit anybody down. But you mean to tell me you got to play like how old's Ron Hainsey? 39, 38? You gotta play 39-year-old Ron Hainsey or 38-year-old Ron Hainsey 82 games at 21 minutes a fucking night. He's gonna be riding on the rims going in the playoffs.
Ron Hainsey is 38 years old.
Yeah, I thought so. It's like apparently that's the cutoff age for millennials. So everyone has a lot of fun.
Yeah, he was born in 81. Yeah,
everyone has a lot of fun calling him Millennial Ron.
Yeah. A couple things to note from that is that I missed most of what you just said because fair. I was confirming that Kyle Broflovsky from South Park and Kyle Bukauskas. I was confirming their ages, and from what I can tell,
Shawshuck now, motherfucker.
Sawchuck. From what I can tell, Bukauskas is 25.
Okay.
Which you can tell pretty much from his haircut. And here's where it gets interesting. Mm-hmm. Kyle Broflovsky from South Park. Yeah. South Park premiered in 97, which means the show is 22 years old, but that character is about 10.
Huh.
So the question becomes...
Job to score. It's a job to score this one.
So you ask yourself, do you go by how old the show is, or do you go
by how old the show is?
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
So in that case, Bukauskas is 4 years older.
Yeah, because the Kyle Broflovsky was born at 10, so it's not really fair.
He's
created. He wasn't born.
Still though, we're putting an asterisk on it.
Asterisk by it.
He's also like a perpetual 10-year-old. Is it 10? Like what grade are they in? What grade?
Fourth grade.
It's fourth grade, so 10.
Fourth grade, so 10. I think they moved to the fifth grade like 10 years.
I think so. Yeah, because Mr. Garrison was their fourth grade teacher, and then they have. I haven't watched South Park since high school, probably.
Yeah. I used to work at a gas station in high school, and I had the DVDs. So in high school, I watched a lot of it. But
I like it was one of those shows that like I never really watched it, and every now and then I check it out, and I was never like a oh my gosh, I gotta watch this all the time kind of guy. But I've in the last couple of years, even like I've watched some like. Someone's like, oh, you really got to check out this episode of South Park, and I'll watch it, but otherwise.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
When people tell me I got to check out this episode of like a certain show, I'm usually like, yeah, I was going to do that, but I just went right about living my life.
Yeah.
I just went right on living.
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of the whole idea of you can watch this particular, if you're unsure about a show, I like recommending if you're unsure, watch this episode and you'll know if you like this particular episode, you will love the entire series.
If you're unsure, watch Kindergarten Cop. Where were we? Where were we on the
I don't know because I wasn't listening to you.
Gets mad episode.
I wasn't listening to you because I was off. Trying to find out those ages. But here's what we're gonna do. Okay. We're gonna take a minute. We're gonna pause for the cause to hear from another one of our sponsors, Miller Lite.
Yes, boy.
3 grams of carbs, 90 calories.
90 calories.
And Terry's going to tell you all about it here. Here we go.
Here we go. A little Miller Lite ad.
Here's a few things to know when opening an ice-cold Miller Lite. They brew their beer to 90 calories and 3 grams of carbs per 355 milliliter serving. And they also brew for great taste. It's this great Pilsner taste that's made Miller Lite a favorite for our beer drinkers everywhere. Miller Lite, 90 calories, 3 grams of carbs, it's Miller time.
Okay, so after all that...
The break has made me realize this episode kind of reads like me just whining and complaining about the Leafs.
And I was thinking the same thing during the break, was that we talked about doing it as like, we're going to talk about the series and what happened and how we feel about all the things in the series that happened. And instead it's just kind of been you getting to vent and give your post-mortem.
And I guess like I try to keep this off Twitter now because I don't think anybody wants to, like there's just a vacuum. I'm not one of those like, oh my God. There wasn't a part of me that thought this was going to be a Leafs Cup year. There was just a lot of...
There was part of me that actually did. I was really nervous throughout this series.
Okay.
Seeing... I mean, Sean McIndoe put it best. He tweeted out the other day comparing this year's playoffs to the Simpsons episode Homer at the Bat. Where all of these like superstars are getting taken out in really weird, surprising, unexpected, like unorthodox ways, and then the Maple Leafs are Homer showing up, and the Boston Bruins are Darryl Strawberry, who's still like raring to go. It was just
actually really good.
It's like a perfect analogy. I love it.
I'll say this: I did have. I think I came into the playoffs with like, well. I think when we had Raycroft on, he said it's a 45 to 55 split,
depending on
who's got home ice. And I thought, well, that's actually perfect. Like, we do have a chance this year with the roster we have, and especially the performance Anderson gave, to actually
Anderson played incredible.
Yeah, to beat the Bruins. But I think going into the playoffs, the looming looming, I guess it's fair to call him a paper tiger now, of Tampa, just kind of reminded me, well, yeah, no, this is not. So when Tampa got bounced,
if you get past the Bruins, it was waiting for Tampa.
When Tampa got bounced, that's when I was like, well, you get past them, it might be one of those. And I don't think it was fair to call the Leafs a Cinderella team at all. But in my mind, given the problems I'd seen, like I said, game 1, 81, and 89. Well, I don't think the stretch pass got picked off too much in 89, but it's all we had. Seeing what I've seen, well, it was, I guess, had we beat the Bruins, we could have gone on a highly improbable run. I'll say that. And
but I mean, everything at this point is an improbable run.
Well, yeah.
I think even in the series, other than the Boston-Toronto series, even in the series where the top seed won, it was still to some degree an upset.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean,
like I think everybody had Vegas over San Jose pretty well.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up.
Everybody had that. Everybody had Pittsburgh, especially not being swept by the Islanders.
I had the Islanders over Pittsburgh, but I did not have a
sweeping
sweep.
them.
I had them in 6, and it was. Honestly, it was mainly goaltending. Matt Murray just hasn't.
And Robin Leonard, oh man, I was watching. I didn't see all the game last night, but I saw part of it in game 1, which they lost in overtime.
Yeah, I was watching Vladdy.
But I was watching that, just thinking to myself, like what? There's times when you're watching playoff hockey, especially playoff, but kind of like any hockey, where there's times where I'm just watching a goaltender and I'm thinking like, this person is unbeatable.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're going to have to do. They just get in that zone, and it's not even just playing great positional, but reflex-wise, they're just great, and the team is playing like a certain kind of shutdown game against them that you're not getting the kind of extra opportunities. And Leonard was playing that kind of hockey last night.
Dominic Hasek mode or something.
Yeah, and it's just like, you're just watching it going like, I don't know how they're going to score on this guy.
Free agent this summer, too.
Yeah,
might be in my opinion, it would be very interesting to see him go to free agency, and I think I've got it on good merit that Columbus is going to be shopping for a goalie, so I think he might get. He might be. There's not much of a huge goalie market out there, but I think he might get not only just a pay raise, but a bit of longevity. Like, I think he's going to be the kind of guy that gets both.
Here's the question I've got for you. As I take a sip of coffee from my Grand Falls Windsor mug, brought to us by our fan of the show and friend of the show, Mr. Gary Hennessy, who bought one of our mugs at 3mipodcast.com and then gave us 3 Town of Grand Falls Windsor ones.
I promise at some point this summer I will stop into Grand Falls Windsor for longer than like a pee break, and I got an oil change at the Canadian Tire there once. That's my Grand Falls.
All right, there you go. So as we each take a sip from those Town of Grand Falls Windsor mugs that Gary was nice enough to give us.
It's good coffee.
It is. Thank you. I do my best. No. It's. I'll tell you what it is after, because you're going to get upset. Because it's not from the funky cool downtown coffee shop or whatever. It's
spare me, Mike.
Yeah, it's no. First of all, let me just say that for a Leafs Bruins kind of back and forth episode that we're kind of deliberately doing here, I've been giving you an inordinate amount of shit.
Well, this is what
getting
happens.
Really heated, but like it's been
what happens when your team wins.
But it hasn't been. But it hasn't been for the stuff I've been thinking it was going to be for. And I'm like giving you shit because
I like a coffee shop.
Because we disagree on coffee shops, and I'm giving you shit because a lot of the Leaf stuff was warranted. Anyway. I don't even remember what I was going to say anymore. What were we talking about?
We were talking about Robin Leonard, possibly.
Oh, Robin Leonard. I was going to ask you just what your thoughts are on Bob and where Mr. Bobrovsky is going to wind up.
I think people have been talking about Florida since
November. I've been hearing a lot of talk about Florida.
It's honestly been since, so it's almost to the point where,
if he doesn't go to Florida now, it's going to be the biggest upset.
Yeah.
It's going to be the second biggest upset involving Sergei Bobrovsky this season.
I mean, yeah, no kid. Well, I don't think he was upset in the first biggest upset, but
no, but I just mean to be the biggest shocking. Like,
I just think
what, he didn't go. Like,
yeah, there's so much. I guess when you hear about it that much, there's so much smoke. There's fire. I'll say this: there's a lot of interesting for a guy,
especially now that they got Quenville.
Yeah, for a guy whose team just got well, I won't say trounced. They lost in 7, but the game 7 was a trouncing.
And at least it was okay. Here's we'll come back to the Bobrovsky take.
Okay, we do a lot of comebacking to things here today.
And we haven't come back to any of them.
No, I know.
But the question that I have for you regarding that is, you've been a Leafs fan for a couple of years now. Which I also give you shit about.
The reason I picked the Leafs is because of the Boston upset, the 4-1-1 that flicked around.
You picked the Leafs.
I picked the Leafs.
You're like the one person who, like, everybody else is just born into it and stuck with it.
I was sick of the team that I was kind of born into. I was groomed as a Penguins fan from an older cousin who, and everything was rosy then when I was a child. I mean, that was the Lemieux era, and then I was a cognitive child, and then that was like, well, wow, Mario was forced into an early retirement, and then I was he comes back, and he owns the team, and it was all of this doom and gloom. I remember for much of my, like, pretty much from my grade 3 year to my graduating year, my favorite hockey team was on notice to relocate or fold.
This is true.
So when they got to Crosby, when the quote unquote the ball fell the right way for them to get Crosby, which a lot of people will say the ball didn't really fall, it was exciting, and it was very exciting, and it all became very exciting very fast. But what ruined it for me was,
Are you insinuating that you think the fix was in to put Sidney Crosby on the Pittsburgh Penguins and keep them from relocating?
Okay, my friend, a lot of people that are much more important than me.
I am shocked that you would insinuate such a thing.
Successful than me. They drive better cars. They've got nicer houses. They will tell you the same thing. The Chicago Blackhawks owner was yelling about it at the premiere.
Yeah, but the Chicago Blackhawks owner also...
he's passed away, so you should watch what you say.
There's nothing I could possibly say about him that would be any worse than... They booed during the memorial video. When he passed away, and they showed a, thank you, Bill, for, all your years of owning the team video, the fans booed it.
They weren't booing, they were boo-ernsing.
No, they were booing.
They were booing? Anyhow, to wrap up what I was going to do,
Dollar Bill Wirtz,
what ruined it for me was you take a city where hockey was always on the periphery and just barely there for a long time. I remember hearing stories, I always wanted to get down to Pittsburgh in my high school years and stuff like that before the whole Crosby thing. I remember hearing stories that radio stations would give away tickets to games and people just wouldn't claim them. So you just couldn't get people to go to these things, and of course you get
which is so weird because I know so many here. What has kind of, because I know you kind of bailed on the fan base because
it was more so the sports writing, and I was going to get to that.
Well, all I was just going to say was that, and it's not, this interruption isn't to move on to something, it's to just interject with what I've generally found is that the sentiment, and I apologize to anybody listening who takes offense to this, the sentiment has generally been that Pittsburgh fans are kind of shitty and fair weather, and Penguin fans are outside of Pittsburgh are fucking ride or die.
Well, and that's exactly it. That's
and there's a bunch of them because so many people of our generation came up during the Lemieux stuff.
I can understand why people, there's a big, especially in Canada, there's a huge Pittsburgh Penguin fan base because people that are 35 and up, because they had the best uniforms. They had Mario Lemieux. So if you weren't a Wayne Gretzky guy, you had this kind of a rebel. He smoked. He had he didn't put the jersey on at his draft.
Those the best uniforms?
Oh my God, those late 80s, early 90s Pittsburgh uniforms?
The ones that they have now?
Yeah. Oh yeah, those were the best uniforms back then. Man, I'm telling you, I'll fight you for that. So it makes a lot of sense.
I don't know if you've ever seen, but there was a brief period of time in the late 90s where the New York Islanders had these fishermen.
Yeah, that's
I'm just fucking with you.
I was actually looking at I love those. I own one that I wear from time to time underneath a denim jacket because it's a youth jersey. It's a youth extra large, so it fits me. Yeah. But the sleeve stops.
Well, that's like I've got two Bruins jerseys. One is like a Reebok like current version, until Reebok left, but like the current Bruins jersey, and I've got one that's like a replica from like 1995 of the just previous. Okay. It's like it came out of the fucking Sears Wish book. I wear it on. I wear it down here all the time. Yeah. And I keep threatening that I'm gonna go to like the sports spot and get like Andy Moog, like get Moog 35 thrown on the back of it.
I believe it's pronounced Moog.
It's Andy Moog, but
it could be. Making sure he doesn't yell at you at a charity game.
Oh, there we go. Oh, okay, all right. But yeah, it's just
so what happened.
But the same thing. Like the sleeves are like I have my sleeves rolled up right now, and it's basically the same spot.
Yeah, it's funny. I had to take my jacket off once, and I don't remember why. I think I got I think I spilled a beer or something on it, and I was wearing that jersey under it.
So many stories of you spilling beer on yourself.
Oh yeah. I'm a bit clumsy. Yeah. And I remember like just hauling the jacket off or something, and everyone, it was almost like the record scratched, and I was like, what are you wearing? Because it doesn't even go to my, like, it doesn't even go t-shirt length. Anyway, back to why I picked the Tronna Maple Leafs. They got, that 4-1 trouncing. I was a Penguins fan for a very, very long time. It was a lot of fun for a little while, and then they won a cup in 2009. They didn't make it, but they had a lot of injury trouble. You lose Sidney Crosby. One year they went into the playoffs without Crosby or Malkin. And whatever reason, and I blame just, hockey blowing up there so quickly, you get a lot of people that got to write about hockey. And I don't think they had a frame of reference for it because everything was just such a divert sense of urgency, almost as if they've been following a football franchise for too long where there's only 12 games a season, and if you drop 3 in a row, well, yes, it's panic time. If you don't win the cup every year, you don't have to have we have to trade either Crosby or Malkin. Yeah. And I was just tired of... I was completely, and like it would always gain. I know one of my friends, I won't out them. There was the summer that they were talking about, well, it's now time to trade Chris Letang. He's won 2 cups since this. It's now time to trade Chris Letang. And there was this, they had this blog at the time too that would peddle all this stuff that was huge on Twitter. It was almost like InfoWars for Penguins fans. And they'd cooked up that Chris Letang was going to Toronto for Dion Phaneuf.
Oh, Jesus.
And I remember one of my friends was like, we've got to do this. We've got to do it now. We don't need a guy turning the puck over. We need a guy who can shut things down and sew it up. And Phaneuf's rotten in Toronto.
I was going to say, like, are we talking about the same Dion Phaneuf?
Oh, well, this was many years ago.
I would love to do it now and get Phaneuf and Kessel back together.
Yeah.
Because remember the...
well, they're still at it. I mean, they're going to... Right now, there's all kinds of athletic articles talking about that they're going to... Well, no, sorry.
Kessel to Arizona is what I'm hearing.
Not the Athletics. Sorry, there's all kinds of Pittsburgh media writing about how they're going to trade away Evgeny Malkin. And then the Athletic had one writer jump in. They're like, we talked to Mario Lemieux, and they're definitely... not doing that.
I saw a tweet, I can't remember who had it, but earlier this week, where it was a report that Tesla, like Elon Musk, is working on a fucking electric leaf blower. And someone retweeted it with, finally some competition for the Athletic. And I've still been laughing at it.
Oh, wow. But yeah, it's so funny. You read, like, I don't know, they got put out 2 weeks ago. You read like thousands of like columns and stuff and how it's, well, these are the guys that are going to get moved. Yeah. And then it's like literally one quick blurb in the Athletics. Like, well, actually, Mario Lemieux commented on this. They traded one franchise talent once 25 years ago. They'll never do it. Like they have no interest in doing it again. Yeah, like well, there it is.
Like the fact of the matter is that hindsight's 20/20, and if the Pittsburgh Penguins had to do it all over again, the traveling Yoggers would have a lot less people involved.
Well, exactly. Well, now I think that was a financial, it was a cash asset. Once again, they were always on the fucking verge of folding or relocating. They had to. They couldn't pay him.
Yeah,
they couldn't pay Mario to the point where they had to give him the fucking team.
Yeah.
They were like, shit, we can't.
That's the most filmmaking way to do it. It's
exactly.
like, we can't pay you, but would you like an executive producer credit?
Yeah, like that was,
We'll call it an investment, and you can be credited as an executive producer.
I think it was
what they did with Mary.
I think it was a boatload of cash too. Like I think if you were to look up how much it was, it would like you wouldn't fit under the cap right now.
No.
But anyhow, that's why I don't want to give the tone in this whole thing that like I'm here griping and whining that the Leafs didn't win the cup.
Oh, right, that's what we were talking about.
That's what we were talking about. Yeah, I don't want to give off that tone because like I kind of the only time it really opened up where I had a little bit of hope was when the Blue Jackets got when they put out.
Okay, I remember where we were now.
And I looked at that and I said, well, if it wouldn't be a Cinderella. Oh, wow, that was a lot. Cotton Eye Joe freestyling here. It wouldn't be a Cinderella run. It would have been a highly improbable run. And in the playoffs, there's a lot of that. I mean, you had Vegas last year. I didn't get mad when they got beaten Game 7, and I mean, I kind of expected it. I remember telling a bunch of people. But
I remember where we were.
I was
getting ready to ask you.
If what happened to the Leafs, if what happened to Vegas happened to the Leafs in Game 7, holy dancing fuck.
To some degree it did.
What do you mean?
In that they blew a 3-goal lead and lost in overtime.
No, I mean this year.
I know.
Yeah,
I know. You're specifically talking about the penalty call.
Yeah,
you're talking about the penalty call, but I'm just saying, like, the Leafs have blown a 3-goal lead and lost in overtime in Game 7 with less than 10 minutes left. But I know you're specifically talking about the horrible call.
It wasn't even a penalty.
It shouldn't have been. No.
And they had to apologize. You know it's bad when they have the NHL has to acknowledge.
And here's the thing. It's for a referee on the ice. That's an impossible. When you see, when you know that the guy did get hit, it was kind of like standard hockey. It was a shove.
I'll say this:
there is a wiggle room in the playbook for it, and when the guy is lying on the ice with blood pooling out of his helmet, you gotta make the call.
For a
it's
guy,
easy for every and I don't want to bring in video replay on fucking major penalty. I don't want to do it.
Games will be 20 hours long.
It'd be fucking terrible.
However, he's got 4 other. You do kind of have to consult with the other official in the lines. You got a lot of people around. It was a face-off. It's not like it happened in freestyle. But I'll say this. All he saw in the, I had to watch it twice. I had the benefit of a smart
video replay.
Yeah. All you see is the hands come up. So he's, the hands come up for a hit. A guy's out cold.
Yeah.
And there's blood coming out of him. However, it wasn't a penalty, and all I could think was, if this is how it happened for Toronto, I would have to fold my TV in half. I would have to take my 60-inch TV and fucking fold it, and then try folding it again, and then try folding it a third time.
Here is a thing about that.
Yeah.
At no point.
Yeah.
Were
we up by 3 goals?
Well, no. What I was gonna say, I had 2 things. One was I wanted to ask you, and I'll ask you now so that we can come back to it after. Right. But I was gonna ask you, now that you've kind of experienced it both ways, of what would you rather, like a tight game that comes down to the final bit, or and it's kind of a back and forth thing, or just a blowout the way it was, but what I wanted to talk about regarding this is that at the end of the day, Vegas's power play or
penalty kill,
Vegas's penalty kill had been better. They didn't getting a 5-minute major is shit, and it's hard, especially when you score and then you don't lose it.
You've got the continuous clock. That was the big thing.
But at the same time, they didn't have to allow 4 goals on that. It wasn't something that it wasn't guaranteed it was going to happen, and it's so rare that it does.
I did see a lot of that. I saw a lot of, don't allow 4 goals. But here's the thing. This is a San Jose team that, a lot of guys have been here before. There's not that many rookies on that team. There's not that many super young guys on that team. Logan Couture scored the first one, and he looked at the bench and said, that's one, here we go. It's not as much about, Vegas let them score 4 goals. It's the fact that this is a San Jose Sharks team that knew their season was on the line, and they got moving fast.
And they got given an opportunity that not a lot of teams get.
It's essentially, and
they arguably shouldn't have been given it.
They got an opportunity, and they had to cash in on it, and boy, did they ever cash in.
100%.
I feel bad for Marc-Andre Fleury because he is, I remember seeing a clip, like one of those what my day with the cup was.
Yeah.
And something didn't go right for his day with the cup in 2009. I can't remember what it was. I don't know
but he won 2 more.
He didn't win 2 more.
Yes, he did.
He only won one of those Penguins cups, and he kind of didn't play.
No, he kind of didn't play. He was on for both those cups. It was after the season where they won, because last year was Vegas' first year.
Oh, yeah. Wow,
so he was
okay.
on. He's won 3 Stanley Cups.
Do you count those?
Does he have a fucking ring? Yes, you count them.
So.
He might not have been on the ice. He might not have been the guy that was there for it, but he was still on 3 cup-winning teams.
Honestly, that's a bar trivia thing I'd flunk, and it's still happening. I
remember.
Know.
It's happened on this show multiple times where you bring it up, and I'm like, he's won 3 fucking cups.
Okay, I felt bad for him because in 2009, I don't know if it's the
He's
thing.
only won one as a starter.
Yeah.
But
I think his thing got rained out or something, and he said, next time it'll be different.
Yeah.
I guess he did get us next time.
He got 2 more next times, but he just didn't
fuck
get
him. I don't feel bad for
he
him
didn't get to
anymore.
be the guy because it was Matt Murray came in and kind of took it over and went on a Yarrow Halak Cinderella story to the point where and then carried him to the second one to the point where they're like, well, we can fucking ship Fleury out of town now.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what happened. He won. He was the backup through the playoffs. So he lost the job late. I can't remember if it was early playoffs or late regular season where they brought in Murray to start a game, and Murray went on a run that brought him through to the cup. And then I think Fleury stayed on as a backup through the next year. They won the cup again with Murray, and then there was the expansion draft, and he went to Vegas. That's what happened.
Jesus.
Something
Christ.
along those lines. Someone can fucking correct me if I have something wrong about the situation in which Murray took over and how much they shared duties the next season, but he won 2 cups with that. He won 3 cups as a Pittsburgh Penguin.
I don't feel bad for Marc-Andre Fleury anymore. You're supposed to stop that You're supposed to stop that game-winning goal.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
Yeah.
It's on you, Fleury.
And I mean, yeah, it was. Here's a question I have for you. Because I have lots of questions for you.
Unfortunately.
Well, one of them was I wanted to know what you thought about. Would you rather a close game or one that like got
it? Doesn't.
You didn't take the. I mean, the Leafs have blown. Now the Leafs haven't won a playoff series against the Bruins since 1959.
Okay, I wasn't around for that, so
but in the last 3 that have been in in relatively quick succession, there have been 2 in which they've blown leads, and 1 in which they just never had it.
This is gonna kind of make me sound like a crackpot more so than I always do, but. What usually happens to me with these playoff series and these Game 7s, and you can ask the people I watch the games with, I usually have a pretty good sense on if the team can pull this together. And I usually say to the guys, especially I've said it the last 2 Game 7s, I say, when you close your eyes here, you know a handshake line is coming.
Yeah.
When you close your eyes, and given that, I watched, I think this is the most of the 82 game season I've watched in a very long time. I think I knocked out like 74 games this year. I think I only missed.
That's impressive.
Given what you've seen of this team, and I did this the last 2 Game 7s, when you close your eyes and you know a handshake line is coming, can you picture this team on the right side of the handshake line? And I just couldn't do it. I couldn't. 2 years in a row, I couldn't do it. So, and I mean, you kind of know how it was. And I won't say I was for Game 7. I was pretty calm. I was just kind of sitting on my friend's couch. I have I have one of those smart watches that monitors your heart rate.
Yeah, I have one of those.
And
too.
there was a couple times in this series where it was getting up in the 90s and the 100s. Yeah. For reference, my resting heart rate is around 45. It's a little low.
Jesus Christ!
It's pretty low. We're hovering at 43 right now. So I do have a low resting heart rate.
You've been talking about the Toronto Maple Leaf season for 127 or 1 hour and 27 minutes, and as of right now,
when I was yelling,
mine is actually upstairs charging, but I can guarantee you, I'd be in the 80s right now.
Well, when I was yelling about Nylander, I got in the 80s. But I know a couple of games, Game 5 in particular, I was, a couple of moments I looked down and we're in the 100s. In game 7, it didn't get higher than 80. It didn't get higher than what I was because I kind of knew going into it.
All right. I was actually playing hockey during that.
Okay.
It was playoffs for us this week. And like I said, we lost. It was weird. Our playoffs for our rec league kind of went similar to the NHL in that in the crossovers, there was like a round robin in which all the teams kind of played each other. and we ended up with a 1-1-1 record through that, but we had finished the season with the most points. So that gave us an extra point. But for how it worked out. So we had our last game of like the round robin on Tuesday night. We won that game 9-2.
Jesus Christ!
And then the next night, and in the preceding game, the team, I think it was like 8-3. I think was the final score of that game. So that put us in second place in the round robin. So we played the third place team that had lost 8-3, and the team that won 8-3 played the team that lost 9-2. And
who's on first?
Who? But then after that happened, both of the 1 and 2, the 3 and 4 team won the next night. And we lost 3-2 on a brutal goal that was just like hit off a shoulder, bounced up, went 10 feet in the air over the goalie's head and bounced in. And that was how we lost the season. But that game was, the 9-2 game was happening during, game 7. And we were playing, and the rink we play at, like our goalie put on his gear faster than I've ever seen him do it to make sure we got in the near end. Because if you're in the near end, you can see the TV in the warm room.
That's pretty funny.
And we were like, and we were convinced we were going to lose because we're like, he's not going to be paying attention. And he played lights out, played a fucking great game, but he also moved the puck like I've never seen him do before.
Because he was back to watching the game.
He was just rushing through, like he wasn't, and the other goalie was getting beat 9-2. So both the goalies were doing it because both of them wanted the game to be over for very different reasons.
I'm glad you brought that up. Actually,
but I was watching, and so I didn't get to see. All I was just going to say was like I saw the first period, second and third period.
Yeah.
I didn't see any of the second other than like I glanced up as Corrali scored.
Okay. And
I managed to see like the Corral leap. And then I got in for the last like 6 minutes of regulation.
Not bad.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up. The fact that your goalie was playing the puck lights out flat fast as he can.
Just dumping it down to the zone to keep icing calls off.
Next year they're talking about it. You're not allowed to freeze the puck unless it's certain, if you're a goalie, unless it's certain opportunities.
That's bullshit.
And I feel that actually Don Cherry brought it up a couple times in the playoffs. He said that, if you look, the linesmen are talking to the goalie here about to keep it in play. And I know I saw it happen in one of the Islanders games actually, and it led kind of to a goal where the goalie could have just froze it, but I really hope the NHL doesn't go to that.
It's bullshit. I don't think they should. Yeah. I think a goalie should be able to...
You can speed up the game in more ways here than doing that.
I got an idea how you do it. You get the linesmen to stop being so fucking full of themselves and drop a fucking puck instead of like making every time the linesman's going to actually like do a fucking face off, and it takes 3 minutes of them like, I'm gonna drop it, if you move, I'm gonna kick you out, I'm gonna go back to this. Like, fuck you, drop the goddamn, if you want to speed up the game, that's how you do it. You don't make the goalies change the way they played their entire fucking careers.
You've also got the unfortunate, they've got so many rules about the face off now. The opposing player on the road stick's got to come down first. You got to be square, you're not allowed to use your hand. They've changed face off rules a lot in the last couple of years. You're not allowed to use your hand on the puck to win a draw. You're not allowed to go so low. So I mean, the linesmen, yes, they're taking for fucking ever, but they're also looking for like 30 different things.
I know there's a checklist, but I'm also opposed to the fucking checklist. Were face-offs that big a fucking problem?
Well, if you look, one of my favorites, go look at it. Go back and look at a bunch of Steve Yzerman face-offs, because you're supposed to be square. That's what the hash marks are literally for, to square people up. And my God, is he ever on a dirty 45 every time? And but once again, I mean, it's very easy to say, well, just fucking drop the puck. But you also got two coaches screaming about this shit to do the face, I just think that with all I'm trying to say is that with all those fucking things happening, even with all those, you can, like, if you're worried about speeding up the game and you want to try to make goalies force them to play the puck more as opposed to covering to speed it up, and then when they do cover, that's the shit you get on with. Like, it's a league generated problem, and it shouldn't be on the goalies to change the way they play. There's also, I mean, this might be the worst officiated first round of the playoffs I think there was 3 instances where the league had to comment on officiating. And there's already been 3 crews of referees sent. Like they're not coming back for the second round.
Yeah,
it is, and it's not just it's not just penalties and stuff like that. I mean, there's been a lot of talk, like you mentioned, the face-offs. There's been a lot of talk about in the whole rounds, like the icing time. I know the Penguins complained about it.
There's been a lot of reactionary calls too.
A lot of reactionary calls.
It's obvious they're not seeing the play and they're just calling based on the reactions.
They had an icing clock for a lot of the Bruins series. A lot of people complained about in the games in Nassau that they took for fucking ever to drop the puck on an icing.
Yeah.
So it is. You know, a way to speed up the game is, make sure the refs know that they're not the stars of the fucking show here. And it's easy to pick on refs. I mean, everybody's uncle does it. Everybody, you've all heard, this team's got to beat the home team and the refs tonight. I don't really buy into that. But if you got the league commenting on 3 fucking instances, you've had a bad round. Yeah. You've had a fucking bad round with the officials.
It's right.
I don't think I've ever seen it. Obviously the foot and crease goal, they had to... they changed the rule.
And I mean, even the other night when in Game 7 of the Carolina Caps game, where dude dumped it from his own inside his own blue line, it went over glass.
Yep.
They didn't call a delay game penalty, and then in overtime, they called Carolina for it, and Carolina survived it.
Yeah, that's a one. In my opinion,
the puck over glass thing is just...
Well, you got to have it because you had guys like Darius Kasparaitis. That was their only defensive move. That was literally... I've seen him literally take his hand and throw the puck to get a whistle. Like you had guys that... I mean, you had guys in the 90s. That was a great... And back then, sometimes if you were up by the... If you were up by your own bench and did it, well, the face-off was coming outside your fucking zone.
Here's my thing, is I think it...
That's one that has no excuse to get missed.
I think, has no excuse to get missed, but I hate the puck over glass penalty. I hate it as a delay of game. I like the idea that because I think also there's a whole bunch of things from the game in the 90s that have changed just changed by attrition because there aren't those kinds of players anymore.
Well, but I think the rule wasn't there.
I think if you make it, if you were to get rid of the puck over glass delay of game penalty and just make it that it's treated like an icing, and if the puck, no matter where on the ice it is, if you are down behind the opposing team offensive zone net and you put it over the glass, then it comes back and it's next to your fucking goalie.
I don't know. I honestly, in my opinion, it's on the refs to get it right. In my opinion, I think.
I just don't like the penalty I just don't think it should be.
If you got a good face-off, man, you're winded, you're gonna take that every time, and you're gonna hope the linesman give you the extra 30, 40 seconds. You're gonna hope that somebody their stick is broke. You know. And,
no, I get you.
Yeah, we're talking.
Speaking of, did you see Marchand stomp on Atkinson's stick?
Yeah.
What a piece of shit.
Yeah,
I'm so glad he's on the Bruins. However, and I don't have to hate him.
Atkinson's comment was like, he owes me $300, and I'm like, sir. Yeah, young man, no.
Yeah.
Who are you fooling here? You do not have a 300. Maybe 10, 12 years ago when they first came out.
No, the sticks are still, but the fact of the matter is Atkinson's not paying for it.
I don't think there's still $300.
Yeah, they are.
Teams get a discount on that stuff. There was actually a Hockey Night in Canada segment of 15 years ago.
If you were buying that, if the point is that stick, if you were buying at retail, is $250 to $300 for sure. The fact of the matter is yes, the team's getting a bulk discount, but also he's not paying for that fucking stick, so it doesn't matter.
But anyhow, maybe.
But I've seen guys do it. I saw there was a rash of it this year showing up on like Instagram and shit. You saw a couple times where in beer leagues and shit where guys are paying for their own sticks. I saw there was one where in a fight the goalie went while the guys were fighting, took the stick, stuck it in the back of the net and cracked it off. I saw another one where a guy stomped on one on the ice and cracked it.
Here's a good question. We're all talking about speeding the game up and stuff like that, and the linesman going on power trips and all that. How the fuck was that not a delay of game penalty? The stomping on the stick or on sportsman? I wouldn't settle for an on-spot. That's a delay of game.
It's not.
Well,
it's not because it didn't delay the game in any way.
Well, it delayed the face-off.
Well,
Yeah.
Not really, because the puck was dropped, and then it was just Atkinson had a broken stick.
Yeah.
That's not a delay of game. Like, he's just supposed to drop his stick and go on.
Yeah.
So it's not that. It's unsportsmanlike, but it didn't get seen.
No, that's true.
That's the thing, is you only noticed it because it looked like Marchand was just like kind of like making his way through, and it's only on replay you really saw him come down on the blade of the stick.
What a piece of shit.
Yeah. Anyway, we've been going for an hour and a half ish.
Yeah.
I didn't get to talk about my Bruins at all, even though they're and how much I love fucking Jake DeBrusk, how much Charlie Coyle is just showing up and just being fucking fantastic.
You guys traded for him this year, didn't you?
Yeah.
Charlie Coyle? Yeah.
Ryan Donato, who I also loved.
There's a tweet from me, and like, I don't know, you guys traded for him in February, maybe March,
around the deadline.
A couple of weeks before the deadline.
Yeah, it was like the weekend. It was like the week before the deadline.
I remember quote retweeting it. It's like, okay, he's from the area. I was like,
he's from Weymouth. Yeah.
I was like, I look forward to like the Charlie Coyle having a first round of his lifetime, and he did.
He did.
You could see it coming.
And in game 1 of the second round, scored the tying goal and the overtime winner.
I saw that. Yeah.
Which is nice. The guy's having a great playoffs, and I'm happy. Really happy for him, and I'm really enjoying watching him play for the Bruins. But I'm mostly gonna. I can't remember. I think they got him for a bit.
Oh, okay.
I think they got him for a bit, and they should fucking re-sign him. Hopefully, he stays healthy and all those things, and he's good. But I imagine if a guy's from Weymouth, if he's going on a good run with the Bruins, he's having all this stuff, I could see that being a guy who sticks with the Bees for a while. As long as he'll be with the Bruins as long as the Bruins want him there. And for right now, I can't imagine why they would want to get rid of him.
Speaking of, who's the Habs players signed yesterday? Jordan Wheel took a $0.5 million pay cut to stay there for 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, you don't see it.
I still I just don't get the Habs right now. I mean, I know it's easy for me as a Bruins fan to be like, I don't fucking. And I know we talked about it.
April 27th. Let's let them have their off season.
But all I was just gonna say is I'm still kind of, because someone was talking to me about it yesterday at hockey, and it's still that thing of like, you gotta move price if you want people to believe you're actually trying to rebuild. You gotta move them.
Man, after the season passed, I don't think they need a full rebuild. I don't think they do. I don't think they need a full rebuild at all. You probably got to spend to the cap.
Yeah.
I mean, I think last year the Leafs signed the biggest free agent. I think, in my opinion, this year the biggest free agent is Jeff Skinner, and I think he's a shoo-in to go to Montreal.
You think so?
I think so. It makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of supporting pieces there that he's going to play great with.
Yeah.
I think the Habs are going to give him probably a little more term than some places would. Like, I don't think a guy with Jeff Skinner's concussion history and Jeff Skinner's age, I think, what is he now, like 29?
I'll check.
He's been in the league. He came into the league as a 19-year-old. He's been in the league for nearly 10 years. Maybe only 8 years, come to think of it.
He's 26.
He's only 26?
He is only 26.
Oh, okay, yeah, he's going to get the full 7 then. Mm-hmm. I don't know if the Habs are going to give him the full 7.
He was the 7th overall pick in the 2010 draft.
Jesus, man.
I know, man.
Anyway, I think it makes a lot of sense for the Habs. They had $9 million to play with last year. A lot of people say they would have made the playoffs if they used all of that $9 million. I wasn't one when that was an issue going into the season. At the end of the season, I definitely was one of those people. It said, if you go out and buy yourself even you find 15 extra goals. Yeah. That'll win. One of those will win 2 or 3 of those games. They dropped to Ottawa, which a lot of people said that's why they didn't make it. However, it was nice to see a character guy like Jordan Wheel, who he got his one-way deal instead of a two-way, so he's in the NHL, and he left $500,000 on the table. Wow. And it's just like, I want to stay here. I want to be part of. So I don't think they need a full rebuild. I think that next year they will be in the playoffs. I think the playoffs will be a very different beast next year, based on the brackets. I don't know. Someone's got to come out.
Yeah.
I don't know in that Atlantic. I don't know who it's going to be. I hope it's not my Leafs, but it's April 27th still, and I don't really need to think about that. There are. So what I'm winding up here is it's April 27th when we're recording this.
Yep.
And I'm not. That's it. It's off season. I'm not going to talk about the Leafs anymore, with the exception to certain subjects, like when they arise.
When the captaincy gets declared.
Captaincy gets declared. That would be one that I would talk about. I have my choice of captain.
Captain Morgan.
My choice of captain would be Morgan Riley.
Yeah, are you like full on Captain Morgan, like doing that one leg up thing?
Put his one leg up. Now, one thing I will address.
They might need Zach Hyman to do that, but
only have one leg. There's one thing I'll say about Captain Morgan. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think that's a bad thing either.
It's not the end of the world. He's going to keep an A, but
he is going to. This is what. So a lot of people are saying, well, okay. Once again, we're going to go back to the 17-minute game they gave Matthews in Game 7. What was it? Was it 17?
It was in Game 7. He played like 18-40.
Yeah,
I
okay,
think it was,
so
something like that.
A lot of people are saying, and I think it was brought up on that Chris Johnston segment I was talking about earlier that the Leafs are going to name a captain, and it is going to be Austin Matthews. That's fine.
I don't think it is.
Well,
I think if it was going to be Austin Matthews, he would have worn an A at some point in the last how many seasons he's been in the league.
Oh, this is where I was going to. If I were making decisions in Toronto, and a lot of people are probably listening to this last hour and 43 minutes and saying, thank God he's not. But if I were to do it, and this is just based on a history of young captains that I've seen, I would give it to Morgan Rielly, who's been there for nearly a decade now. Yeah. And this is how I would do it. I'd give Morgan the C. Mm-hmm. The other A goes to Matthews permanently. Yeah. So Matthews is the other A. And then I'd lift a book from, I'd lift a page from a couple of great teams did this. I think the Blackhawks did it for a while. I know the Penguins did it. And your last A is a floater. So at home, it goes to Mitchell Marner. And on the road, it goes to John Tavares. And I've seen a couple of teams do that. And I think that's, and then you go, so what happens then? That's it. Yep. This is your leadership core. Yep. So when you're in a situation, when you're playing a game, and game 2, we'll say, and things are getting a little hot. Yep. You're in that dressing room, and your eyes and your ears and whoever you're listening to is probably not going to go to the coach, but it's going to be to those players who've got those letters stitched on. Yep. I think Morgan Rielly, to me, makes a lot of good sense as a captain because, once again, I'm biased. I'm a defensive guy first. I watch the back end of the play more attentively than I will the front end of the ice. I always have. I think he's a great skater, and I think there's a lot of evidence out there on how he handles himself in the community, which, in my opinion, makes a good captain.
And which I also think, considering we were talking about this a little bit earlier before we rolled, there was also kind of like there was an issue with Rielly this year that kind of and the way it got handled actually. Because it was a controversial thing where people thought he said something. He said he didn't. Yeah. He said he didn't. It was reviewed. The league and the team both determined that he didn't say what he was accused of saying, and he did handle that situation pretty well.
The thing about how he handled that situation is he said nothing at first. The league launched an investigation, and during they had a press conference after this, and he said it was very difficult to let the league do their work when I know what I said. But I also had to say, well, this is bigger than me, and I'm paraphrasing him, but you can find the press conference. He's like, I know this is bigger than me, so we have to let the league conclude their investigation and determine for themselves. I didn't say, and I thought that was, and of course, a lot of stuff came out. I when I heard the clip, I dragged him. I dragged him. I went off on him because I have a very, very low tolerance for oppressive comments like that. And
I know me and you even had like a text conversation about it because we were like, we don't want to air this out on the show or Twitter. And it was we didn't 100% agree on some stuff, but we kind of, in the broad stroke of it, did kind of agree that if what was being accused of being said was said, then fuck it.
If it did come out that he said that, well, my take was the league and as well as the Toronto Maple Leafs should sit him a game or two, and in my opinion, it didn't. I remember I dragged them for a long time. I found a group in the Toronto area and made a donation in his name, for dragging the poor guy. So I don't know. That's not it's not much, but it was all I could do. If I ever met him, I'd apologize. I guess. I'm sure. He name searches.
Maybe the end of the summer you'll get a chance to.
Yeah. He's gonna be kicking around town. Eh?
Yeah, he'll be around for a bit, and you'll likely hunt him down.
No, I don't. I'm not much of a hunter. Yeah. I'm sure if I wanted to, there's one bar that NHLers love. I just have to.
I know, right?
I just have to sit outside there on a lawn chair if I really wanted it. I'm a little worried about William Nylander coming to town though, because a bunch of people on my Twitter will point out that when he's not in a suit, he likes to dress like me. A lot.
Yeah, but I don't think anybody's going to confuse the two of you.
Oh, definitely not. I look like I'm about, well,
you should
buddy,
you should, but like you
let's
would,
put it this
would
way.
be wicked if you did wind up in like a Nick Jonas, John Stamos level of like internet trolling each other. Do you know about this? Like,
yeah, I do.
Where
I do.
they like wore each other a shirt with each other, and it just became like this kind of battle. I think you and William Nylander getting into that'd be fun.
Put it this way: in the off season, if William Nylander shows up to camp in my physique, I'll take back everything I said about compete level and discipline. If he shows up with my physique, like, and I'm not in terrible shape, mind you, but Jesus,
you're in better shape than I.
Yeah, but I am.
You jumped a little too easy on agreeing with that one, but thank you. No,
I am definitely not the epitome of pro athlete. I don't know, maybe the NHL like 60 years ago, and it was all trains and beer and potatoes.
Yeah, it's
before Gordie Howe made his comeback. How about that?
Yeah.
I could probably keep up with those fellas. I wasn't tough enough though. They'd murder me inside out.
Okay, so we're finishing up you talking about the Leafs for most of the summer.
My Leafs season eulogy is what you can call this one.
Yeah, and so with that.
So, yeah, I mentioned there are some comments that I would weigh in on. Yep. The captaincy is one.
Marner signing.
Marner signing is another one. The coaching situation.
The Kadri situation.
Yeah, that's about
those are
that's
like,
about it. I mean,
and anything outside that's like, what the fuck, that makes you anything like that. Obviously, you got to talk about.
I'm not going to talk like, okay.
So I'm going to ask you, with all that in laid out there, I'm going to ask you one last Leafs related question.
Okay.
And from there, we can just put a pin in you talking about the Leafs for the next little bit, other than to tell people to buy our limited edition Tronna Maple Leaves shirt at 3mipodcast.com. But other than that, here's my question for you. Mm-hmm. You have a Game 7 coming up, and you got two options. Mm-hmm. And it's like, this is the gun to your head game.
Jesus Christ, no one's putting
two options here. You can either have, for your Game 7, on your team, Justin Williams. On the team you're playing against, Jake Gardiner. Which do you think is the surer bet to win Game 7?
Well, obviously, like, statistics would show it's Justin Williams.
I think it's a split. I think having Justin Williams on your team and playing against Jake Gardiner, I think those are kind of like...
that means you're going to win every time. Jake Gardiner's never won a Game 7. Justin Williams has only lost one. I'm saying you're
playing against him.
Oh.
You're playing against Gardiner.
Okay.
Or you have Williams on your team.
Oh, you've got to pick one.
You've got to pick one. I mean, ideally it's both.
Yeah,
but,
no kidding.
But the situation is you can either play against Jake Gardiner or with Justin Williams for a Game 7. What horse do you take into battle on that one?
I made the joke, actually. We should check Justin Williams to see if he's a UFA. Just sign him. Don't play him unless we run into the Bruins in Game 7 again. And that's you kind of lower him to the ice surface like Sting in the old WCW era. Do that. Justin Williams is a little old now, though.
The lights go out. Is that Justin Williams music?
Exactly. I don't even. Did Sting have music then?
Know.
I think
that was
we just lowered him.
And actually, we were joking that. On like a group chat I had, we were made that joke about like the playoffs are so fucked up, like literally anything can happen. And at one point they're just gonna like the lights are gonna go out, and then they're gonna like spotlight in the rafters, and like it's Connor McDavid in Sting makeup, and all of a sudden like just swoops in.
The lights were flickering in that Islanders series.
Is that why? Because they're moving, aren't they?
Yeah.
Or did they after? Because there was talk of them moving out of Nassau to Barclays,
and I don't agree with that.
I think it's stupid.
It's a Bill Daly move, and everyone who. So obviously, the league commissioner gets a lot of heat, but a lot of the unflavorful decisions are made by Bill Daly. I think this is one of his worst. He's like, well, it's not a league. His excuse was it's not an official league venue, but they played like 20 games there this year.
Yeah, it's
so what does that say about the fucking league? What were they, surprises?
Yeah.
To answer your question, I think Justin Williams is maybe winding down in his career, and if it's my Toronto Maple Leafs, I don't see a roster spot for him, and I don't.
You're taking my chirping question much too seriously.
Yeah, well, no, I just don't. I mean, we kind of have a guy taking up some room right now like that in Pat Marleau. My favorite quote.
Yeah, but the difference is that Williams has won.
Yeah, Williams has won.
He's a reigning Stanley Cup champ.
Yeah, so he is.
He just put out the team on a great play. He just put out the team he won a cup with.
He set up the great play.
He made that play.
It was
the second assist. He threw it on the net. Brock McGinn tipped it in, but that was all Justin Williams.
It's funny. I watched that game with my roommate as a big-time Habs fan, and we were obviously both cheering for the bunch of jerks, I think I have to call them in this.
Right, you do. Yeah, bunch of jerks.
Yeah. And he looked at me, he says, never thought I'd be sitting down actively cheering for Williams because he took Koivu's eye out that time. And I enjoy him. I think he is, the fact that he's resurfaced in Carolina after winning a couple of cups kind of shows that he's probably on the wind down here.
Yeah.
So
I think he's done. I think a lot of the success they had in the second half of this season can come down to Williams' leadership and what they started doing with the storm surge and all those things.
Yeah,
I think
him.
He's wearing so much of that.
My hashtag hot take. I'll take one of my own though. You asked about Jake Gardiner. Yeah. I keep him. If I'm running the Leafs, and a lot of people won't fucking like to hear that, but if I'm running the Leafs, you don't. If he takes a very literally like. You'd have to. It would almost have to be a 1 year, and it would almost have to be the same hit because he's probably, given the back situation, he's probably not going to get a big raise, and he's probably.
But he's acknowledging he's out of Toronto.
Pretty much, yeah. I honestly, realistically, he is definitely out of Toronto. But given the situation, if everything kind of lines up, and if I'm the fellow with the chips, and obviously the priority is to sign Marner and all of this stuff, but I keep him for 1 year and pretty much say, listen, we need you. A lot of people here don't think you do, but we need you, and you're not gonna, this might be it. You're not gonna get as much attention as you probably could have on the free agency market because of the back stuff, because of this and that. But what a shot at retribution. And that's
It's, but I mean, wasn't this year a shot at retribution?
Oh, well, until he had to fucking get back surgery that he declined, maybe. It would be, in my opinion, the second biggest case of betting on yourself that we've seen in a little while. The biggest case, in my opinion, is oh my goodness! In Vegas, Carlson, Wild Bill, he had 41 goals last year and signed for a 1 year at like $2 million.
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah. So in my opinion, that's my own hashtag hot take here. If everything lines up and he re-ups for one year, I do it. That's just me. A lot of people are probably, if they've made it this far, they're probably screaming here. But no, I'd do that because you're not going to replace Jake Gardiner. I don't think you're going to replace any of him next year with the same minute log and the same play. Dermott's going to get that assignment, but I don't think he's quite, and I'm a big Travis Dermott guy, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's quite there at the level of Jake Gardiner when Jake Gardiner plays great. And Jake Gardiner can play great.
That's fair. That's fair.
So that's it. We're done. Unless some certain some big news comes along in Leafland, I'm on the off-season break. You can ask me all about Vladdy Guerrero Jr. Yep. And every time he hits a homer this year, I'm going to stop what I'm doing, like I said, and do the. But if Ozhiganov goes back to the KHL, don't expect to hear me talk about it for 10 minutes. Yeah. That's it.
All right.
Well, signing off from Leafland.
Well, on that, we'll also sign off from the show for today. Thanks so much for listening. I know it was a little like this ended up being much more of a Leafs eulogy than it ended up being a comparison of the season. But
Danny boy, the pipes are calling.
You did. I forgot that you wanted me to fucking sing that too.
I thought you were gonna cue me up to that.
No, I didn't.
You didn't rub it in as much as I thought.
Well, no, like
people.
I said, I'm so much of a sore loser that I wouldn't, because at some point the Leafs are going to beat the Bruins, and I don't want to have to deal with you getting all smug about it.
I don't get smug. I know that people. I'll tell you, the biggest going over I got, I think, was from not even Habs fans. A couple of goes without mentioning. I should bring up that my close friend, Chris Power, I don't know if he listens, but he decided to burn his Leafs jersey.
I saw that.
In a snowbank. And
did he actually do that?
He actually did it, but I'm going to give him shade because it was one of those $40 knockoff jerseys. And one, I would have worn it, and two, I have seen you burn $40 much quicker than that.
All right.
So next year, do it to a real one, and I'll buy it. Not the jersey. I'll buy that you're giving up on them.
All right. Well, in the meantime, you're probably hearing this. Hopefully, it's the second episode you're hearing this week, if you actually even listened.
They tuned out long ago.
I know. But of course, if you're trying to follow along at 3MI Podcast, you can hit our store, 3mipodcast.com, and pick up some great shirts. We actually, just before this, we recorded this one. We just threw up a great Terry Ryan Sr. shirt. That just went online. Already had some sales for that one coming through.
Wow.
While we're recording.
Jesus.
But yeah, super fun there. And you can find me at Hickey, Mike. Chuck is.
I'm at Smokes and Doors. Don't go looking for no Leafs tweets. It's off season.
And Terry is at Terry Ryan 20 on Twitter. Terry Ryan 2020 on Instagram. Hopefully, there's another episode coming up. And if you want to catch up with us, if you're in St. John's in the area, we're actually going to be kicking around Hockey Heroes Weekend, the weekend of May 10th to 12th. There's going to be a bunch of great alumni there. It's for the Heart and Stroke Foundation, which is a phenomenal organization doing a lot of great work. And
there's
what now? What I'm just want to hit the button.
I know you're
and
trying
cue up the
to
song.
rap,
I'm tired.
but I might have to talk about the Leafs and those with a couple of ex-Leafs.
That doesn't count.
That's okay. I'm just saying.
If we get Dougie Gilmore on the show, you don't have to not talk about the Leafs. I'm talking about the 2019 Leafs.
Okay.
Right. Well, no, because you're probably going to want to get his opinion on the Leafs too. Either way, we're gonna be there in a couple weeks. I'm gonna
ask him about all those commercials he's in now.
We're gonna talk to him in a couple weeks. He just did one with Nylander. We can get him to weigh in on Nylander's compete level.
No, we will not. I don't want to yell at Doug Gilmore.
But in the meantime, you can follow us everywhere at 3MI Podcast, and make sure to, obviously, if you're listening to this, you probably subscribe to it somewhere. So continue to listen, review, rate, all those fun things, and we'll be back next week to shout at you a little bit more about some hockey.
Do a little less shouting on my end, though.
A little less, but still a fair bit of shouting about hockey. See you next time.